And it really goes to prove that if you don't measure something, nothing will be done about it.
And we have to make New Jersey's business climate more attractive for entrepreneurs.
We are Wonder Women. Like, look at all these women and what they've done and what they've tried. And even if they didn't succeed, they gave it a shot.
I don't think it's fair to put a $4 or $5 billion price tag on middle-class New Jerseyans.
We've got a great lifestyle here, and I don't want to see it ruined because politicians can't manage our finances properly.
Welcome, I'm Lisa Allen and this is As a Matter of Fact. We are filming from HTTV Studios in Summit, New Jersey. Today's show is part of our series on women leaders in politics and policy. Across the state, there are many women who are making an impact from local government to academia, nonprofits, and to public office. As more women jump into advocacy, we are highlighting the various professions where women can get involved and help make an impact. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Erica Jedynak. Erica works tirelessly in the space of anti-poverty advocacy and equality for women. At a time when it's difficult to get anything done in Washington, her position as the Director of Employment of Initiatives at Stand Together has led to numerous positive government reforms. Thank you so much for joining me today, Erica.
Lisa, thank you so much for having me.
I am excited to have you back because it's been some time now that you've been on my show. You've been doing a lot.
I've been trying, thank you.
So let's get started. We have a lot to cover. I want to talk about what you're doing, but my famous question for everybody that sits in this chair, because I think it's really important to know for the audience, who you are, because even though you're doing extraordinary work, I want to know, what has your journey been to get to where you are today? Because I know you pretty well, and when I see you, you are constantly on the go and you do it so effortlessly. But you've had to do something and prepare yourself in such a way that you've become such a success. So tell me, how did you get here?
Well, I appreciate that, and it's been a very windy road, even just failures, right, and struggles along the way. So I first got interested in policy work in high school. So as a teenager, I started my own blog about the war in Iraq. My father worked at Picatinny Arsenal for a very long time, and September 11th really hit home for me and saw the nation really in crisis. And I felt drawn to want to get involved, but really didn't know how. And so I just started blogging. I just started commenting online, and fast forward, went to get a degree in political science. And I had originally thought I would go into law and worked as a paralegal, worked at a law firm, and decided that really wasn't for me, that I wanted to be a bit more direct and hands-on with advocacy. And I really did not know where I would be going necessarily, but I reached out to a councilwoman in my hometown of Jefferson Township, and I said, what are the paths, right? What kind of options are there for women? And she encouraged that I volunteer on a campaign, I start networking, volunteer in our town, our community, join the Municipal Alliance in Jefferson Township. And so that really sparked something, and it's been a windy road of different jobs, whether working for members of the state legislature on the official side, or just doing a lot of volunteer work in my community. So it's been a long journey.
I love that. Well, talk about where you are today, because you are now at Stand Together. You were AFP for a while, and there's slightly different roles. So talk about your current role.
Yes, so Stand Together is a fairly newly launched organization, and it's a community of partners around the country who are trying to break barriers to opportunity and actually connect people who are doing amazing things already on the ground. So there are nonprofits who have various anti-poverty initiatives that we want to help them scale. So people who are, I think of Rising Tide in Jersey City, or Roots and Wings in Denville, New Jersey. So folks who are already doing great work and need help scaling. And this is also from the business side, right? Whether that's, marketing, storytelling. And so we're connecting with folks around the country like that, and then also looking to reform the areas of government, business, and community. And on the government side, a lot of the work I'm doing is in the employment area. So helping folks have very viable work opportunities and launch their career, because there are a lot of barriers in place for entrepreneurs, and it's really time we get together, folks, to tear those down, whether it's licensing reform or workforce development.
Can you give me an example of an initiative you worked on? You mentioned the braiding. You were working with women who did braiding. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So last year, finally got a piece of legislation through the New Jersey State Legislature with a group of professional hair braiders. So African American women who have learned how to hair braid since they were little girls, who have, most of them, home-based businesses. And they were being fined tens of thousands of dollars by the state of New Jersey for not having a cosmetology license. Wow. Now, African American hair braiding is not actually taught in most cosmetology schools. So it doesn't make sense to have to pay $20,000 to go, full-time to a school where you're not going to learn what you already know and operate a business with.
Right.
Let alone being fined. And part of the issue is that because it was such a bureaucratic system and politicians were not listening to these women, I worked with an activist, Brigitte Nazali, out of Camden. She had been petitioning the government for more than 17 years.
That's incredible.
17 years.
With nothing, and just dead ends.
Just dead ends,
Oh my gosh.
writing letters, calling governors from both sides of the aisle. So partnering with the Institute for Justice, we got together women from across New Jersey, so Patterson, Jersey City, Newark, Camden, Trenton, to actually flood the State House, meet with legislators, and share their stories, right, about how they already know how to provide for their families. They already know how to run their businesses. They just need to be allowed to.
Right.
And not be fined. Some of them were even renting licenses from gangs because it was so much cheaper, right, than having the state on your back and having to hire a lawyer and try to get out from under $20,000 of fines.
Oh my goodness. So what was the final outcome? Did you guys end up?
Yeah, so we got a bill unanimously through the state legislature.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, Governor Murphy conditionally vetoed the bill, so it was a mixed bag. However, the net of it is that the hour requirement went from 1,200 hours to get a license to 40.
Okay.
And all of the fines were waived. So it was a huge relief for all of these women who are practicing really their art and their culture.
What have you learned about yourself? Because this is about leadership. And when you talked about the windy road, I feel like it's really important that women understand that there's not really a straight shot. So what have you learned along the process?
Sure. I think the number one thing is to have grit.
Okay.
And, I've seen when leaders are the most successful is having grit, which is really the persistence through struggle and failure. So whether you're an advocate or you're an entrepreneur trying to be a change agent in our society, you have to have that grit because things are going to fall apart. Inevitably, we're humans, right? We fail, we make mistakes, and it's really about getting back up and being very persistent. Just that bill that I mentioned to you, that bill that we got unanimously through the legislature, there were at least 4 times, probably half a dozen, where it was going to be posted and it was last minute pulled. And we had to organize women to actually come in, share their story all over again, connect with lawmakers, do those whip counts that you hear about on TV to make sure it was going to go through. I fielded many, many Sunday phone calls from women crying that they didn't know how they were going to continue through this fight. It seemed absolutely endless. So I would say grit is so powerful when other folks, are ready and they go home, they sit on the sideline. Grit can be powerful, and also storytelling. I would say everyone has an incredibly impactful story. You don't need to have a wealth of knowledge about, the economy or graphs and charts to be able to effectuate change in Trenton at the State House. You can go with your story because that is incredibly powerful.
I love that. What kind of leader are you? Because I can tell you what I think about you. I think you do have grit and you have passion, and there's lots of things I can say about you. But what do you think your leadership style is? Are you transformational, visionary?
That's a really tough question. Not sure I always self-reflect, but I would say transformational in the sense of I am never satisfied, right, when people are still stuck in poverty or struggling, and it doesn't need to be that way, right? When I connected with legislators and brought stories to them of real people and how they were struggling, right, that can all be reformed. So I think there's a sense of unease I have, and to transform, totally transform a system, right? And having that belief that it can be possible and encouraging others to do the same.
What does success look like for you?
Success is breaking barriers to opportunity for as many people as possible and having regular Americans take ownership of their lives, right? And so maybe, you don't live in the best area, right? Or there's not the best job opportunities, but you can create opportunities for yourself, right? Whether that's a home baking business, whether that's some other kind of marketing service, you can create your own success.
Yeah. Do you, have you gotten rid of any habits that you might have had early on? I think with maturity, you become a better leader because you mature into it. Nobody's ever perfect from the get-go. Are there habits that you had to break in order to go to that next level for yourself?
Definitely asking questions. Asking questions and collaborating with others. I think just as I've matured, I've seen how beneficial that is and valuable. I really do not have all the answers. And in fact, probably other people have all the answers, right? And it's just about coalescing that knowledge, right? And I think it's when everyone gets together that we can actually rise as one.
Yeah. If there's somebody that wants to get a hold of you, because I can't believe our 15 minutes is up, oh my goodness. If they want to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
Sure, they can go to the Stand Together website, learn more about Stand Together, or just do a quick Google. My contact information will come up, Jedynak@standtogether.org.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being a leader in New Jersey.
Thank you, Lisa. It's
right.
a pleasure.
Yes, I can't wait to have you back again. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Lisa Allen, and this is As a Matter of Fact. We are filming from HTTV Studios in Summit, New Jersey. I've spoken to countless women who want to get involved in advocacy, but they don't know how. Each segment in this series has highlighted a different profession that you may be interested in. Whether it's nonprofit, public office, academia, whatever it is, I hope that one of our women's stories has inspired you to follow your passion and just be a force for positive change. For more programming like this, please check us out on our website, our Facebook page, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Have a great day.